Good evening again. John Augustine here. And life and its beginning. I want to show you a little picture. I'd have to get up and show it to you. I just have to get up and I'll get it. Back again. Life. So there's a picture of me as a little baby. Now, I hope you can see it. My mother is holding me, and my granny on the Malone side is standing there. But she's on the step, she's on the top step. And I don't know if my mother is on the ground or that, probably is, because being in a step and holding me, because an accident could happen. But I'm well wrapped up, as you can see, and I have a bit of hair on my head. This was taken. I was the eldest, and there was a certain amount of joy when I was born, and that's my Granny Malone. And this was in 1928, would you believe? And my granny is smiling, and she died. She wasn't 60, late 50s. 2 years afterwards, in 1940. But she looks fit as a fiddle there, and she's smiling good, and she had a good sized family. And there's me mother, holding me, with a little head of hair. And I was obviously expected, and there was a certain amount of joy. And because I've been good ever since, and maybe when I was in the room there was happiness. I hope there was, and there must have been, because I certainly as happy as Larry, as long as I can remember. And there's a few of us there when we were living in Houghton. Then we moved to Boyle. The father was a guard and was transferred there. But there's, that's me there. And that's a cousin in the middle, Eddie Vaughan, because we were connected with the Vaughans. My father was reared with the Vaughans because it was a big family, and he was called John James, and there was a little lad that died of diphtheria, my grandfather and grandmother. And so my father was reared with them because he was named after the little lad, and he was named after his grandfather because he was James Vaughan. And there's Eddie Vaughan in the middle, and there's my brother then, Donald here. He's gone to his maker. But I'm still knocking about. And so there we are, smiling. You notice we're wearing braces. No such thing as belts them times. And short trousers, of course. I had short trousers, but it was made me confirmation at 12 years of age. And we were photographed. I'll show that to you sometime. And so there's a couple of little photographs. And so we're talking about life. So I would have been conceived, the same as the rest of us. Anybody that's born was conceived. And then all going well. They were born. And I was born in Holles Street Hospital in Dublin before it transpired into something completely different. It was, life was respected. Yes, sorry. And so now, the thing is, we have two choices in life. Two choices, two directions. You can go the right road or the wrong road. The right road leads to heaven, and the wrong road leads to perdition. Jesus said that was a wide road. And what is the question now with life? I'm afraid it's nearly as bad as Herod when he murdered the innocents in Bethlehem, trying to murder Jesus. But Saint Joseph in the vision had taken Jesus and his blessed mother to safety in Egypt. But the mother of the innocents, children 2 years of age, but now we've the mother of the innocents before they can be born, in the image and likeness of God, not given a chance. And they feel indescribable pain. I pray that they're in heaven with the angels and saints, because as they were aborted, they would feel as they were killed in this terrible system that has to be inflicted on mankind in many countries, including Ireland. There's it's indescribable, the pain that they would feel. We know they feel pain. We know that. There's plenty of evidence for it. And the poor mothers, poor unfortunate mothers that kill their little innocent lives with that, by goodness, it comes back to haunt them. Most of them. There's ones that just lost completely and have gone down the wrong path completely. But the ones that are not entirely lost, they need to repent, to try and deal with the horror of what they've done. And they say, what's this to say? I won't call it emergencies, or there's some name for what women suffer from. But if you're, and these could be single women, but if you're living with a person and having intercourse, doesn't matter what protection you're supposed to take. That's not the way to do it. You should respect your body, and that's not the way to do it. And then when they become pregnant, suddenly this boyfriend is not so hot. And these are the things that we need to think about and pray for. That first of all, those little innocents will be in heaven, with all the happy in heaven, with all and their little lives snuffed out before they could be born. And the mothers that did this will repent. And above all, those that inflicted such evil on mankind will repent in this country also, and people that voted for it to repent. So this is, and by the way, they call it health. What health is that, killing people? And then the vulnerable with euthanasia, assisted suicide, and the gender business with little children being taught there could be a girl, if they're a boy, there could be a girl. Crazy stuff. So we have to pray for all that. They've gone astray completely. Gone astray in the head. It'll be regarded as the barbaric age in time to come. And they call the little babies, this dreadful word, fetus, to sort of make it not important. And talking about life doesn't happen until such a time, this, that, and the other. Rubbish. Nonsense. It starts from conception to natural death. The Catholic are the only ones that stick to that, and there's other ones that criticise Catholics, the ones that believe in nothing, the nutcases. They're too stupid to know what's right. Too stupid, that's the word I use. Because anybody with a bit of decency in their system will know that what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And killing the innocents and the vulnerable is wrong. And the elderly as well. We don't know what's around the corner sometimes. And is that to do with population control? Is this another effort that trying to stop the business of the population? And by the way, there's not enough now to sustain in many countries the people that are retired. There's not enough children being born. It's an emergency. So, but they're too stupid. The government's too stupid and ignorant to realise They're digging a grave for themselves and future generations. They're just living in the miserable now, and they're not living good. They will have an awful lot to answer for what they've inflicted on mankind. You can't do things like that. You cannot do things. There's two directions, the right one and the wrong one, and a lot of them are on the wrong one, aren't they? And we don't hear enough about the sanctity of life. It should be all Christians and all people of goodwill and something that have some respect for life. But I think it's a majority. But funny enough, it's the tail wagging the dog, isn't it, as usual? And they're doing all sorts of things to try and get their way, but they won't. Eventually, by goodness, I wouldn't like to be in their shoes, quite frankly. It's a deplorable way to be, and the people in the media that supported such evil, oh goodness. Well, anyway, you could talk for a wet week about these things. So we've got to sort of we've got to live right and do what God ordained. There's beauty of life and being reared properly by their mothers if they happen to be on their own, and give them the spiritual welfare that every child deserves and lead decent lives. It's the only way to have joy and peace in your life. Whistling. You don't know anything else, but we have to talk about these things. I pray for them. That's the only thing I can do. But at the same time, you just can't ignore them. You can't be silent. So that's why I'm sharing what I'm saying there now, and that people will come to their senses, mothers especially. Oh, and welcome those little innocents. Don't do that. Yeah. Bye now. Say your prayers. Have a nice evening. I'll be starting earlier tomorrow. You know, I was up to my youngsters today. You ever get days like that? Nothing but chores to be done and boy, the T's to be crossed and all the rest of it. Bye now.